Welcome everyone to the A.W.O.L Gaming and Review channel. I am Zach, and as you notice, I do not have Wayne with me in this video. Wayne's got some things he's taking care of, so I'm taking the reins on the reviews of Arrow and Supernatural today. And this is your review for Arrow, Season 11, or Season 3, Episode 11, A.W.O.L. And this episode was, it was a little slower than other episodes, but still a good episode either way. This one focused more on Felicity and Diggle's issues. Diggle's issues with his brother Andy, and Felicity's issues with now essentially being paralyzed. So this episode starts with Oliver and Felicity coming back to the apartment and, you know, him carrying her and everything. And Oliver pretty much, he's just makes sure she gets her pills and follows the regimen that the doctor set up for her. And he gets, and he's kind of talking to her about coming back, but she's reserved because she doesn't really feel like she's ready. She's kind of having a little bit of self-pity. You can kind of see that in how she's acting. Well, Oliver gets a call because Diggle and his wife were on a date, and then they ended up getting attacked. So he goes to the Arrow Cave to go find out what's going on. It turns out they ended up being attacked. And the patch they noticed on these people's uniforms, because, okay, back it up a little bit. Diggle and his wife were attacked after a guy that she knew through Argus was compromised. And then these guys showed up, shot him, and took him. And apparently, as you found out later on, was killed. So they're at the Arrow Cave, and they find out it's the Shadow Recruit or something. I don't exactly remember what it was, and I just watched the episode. I should have wrote it down. It's the Shadow something. And they're a Special Forces unit through the United States Army. So he goes to talk to Andy to try to figure out what he knows. And you find out that Andy was kind of involved with them for a little bit. And that... But, this is well before his supposed death happened. And you still see there's still tension between Andy and between Diggle. Well, the flashbacks in this episode were him and his brother when they were in Afghanistan going on a special mission. And they ended up having to work with this Special Forces unit, and then how they were trying to, keep the drugs that they found through this Taliban unit, and we're going to try to sell it off, but they didn't do it, and he started talking to him, that being Andy, and he said he was teaching him blackjack, but then they actually wanted to recruit him. That was basically the entire scenario for the flashbacks in this episode. So if you go, and then you get back to present day, and you see Felicity inside the apartment by herself, and she starts hearing this voice talking to her, telling her, calling her names and treating her badly. And it turns out when she finally looks around, it's her when she was in college with the black hair and the sexy gothic outfit that she used to wear. And she reads the bottles and, oh gosh, this causes hallucination. Yippee! And so she's getting tormented by her hallucination throughout the episode. They find out some more information about the Shadow Recruit, and Oliver ends up coming back, talking to Felicity, trying to explain to her that he could really use her help. And she's just like, look, I need to be alone. And she's hearing this in her head, so she's like freaking out. And then Oliver's trying to figure out what's wrong with her, and he doesn't know that that's what it is. And I'm not going to go fully into detail in the show. This unit came to Argus to get some sort of weapons, to do things. And I really would like you to watch the episode. Me talking about it's not going to fully justify it. And I have a horrible memory and remember every little detail. I can tell you the overall aspect of the show and everything that happened, but that requires me to write and write and write and write. But they show up. Of course, Team Arrow stops them. It actually came down to Diggle and his brother Andy. They actually ended up stopping these guys from taking over Argus. And I think they shot and killed Wallard as well. And that's pretty effed up. Because the only reason they knew anything is because they had to get the information from Wallard through a little thing that she had to fake that. I know I'm jumping around, but this is there was a lot to go through in this episode. It was just a little slow, and again, still good. Felicity finally comes to terms after she has it out with herself in her head and decides that she wants to come back. And now the end of the episode is, I think, the best part. Everything else was the meat and the potatoes. It had a couple good action sequences, but you get to the end, and she's talking to Oliver, and she tells Oliver that, this is who she used to be, this is who she wants to be, and everything. And she even shows him a picture of her, and she burns it, and she tells him that it's not his fault, it's not her fault, that this all falls on Damien Dark. Everything that's bad that's happened is all on Damien Dark. And now this to me is the best part, because in the last 2 or 3 episodes you've been watching, and you've seen Diggle trying to come to grips with the fact that his brother isn't exactly who he thought he'd turn back into. But you also know that when he was younger, he was having problems then, and then the whole military thing was a way for Diggle to try to help him to become better. So you get to that, and he takes him home to his house after bringing him to Argus and everything, and the whole thing with the Special Forces unit showing up there to do what they had to do. And he finally introduces him to his daughter. And you see shades of Andy being good like he once was. He even has his wife make him a pot roast, which I like pot roast, and I was kind of jealous. And he sees his niece, and it was a touching moment. For a second, I felt like tearing up, but I didn't, because I feel like I'm almost incapable of it. But yeah, it's whatever. So that was pretty much the episode in a nutshell. This is an off week. Next week, I'll go back to my more in detail, unless y'all like it. Quick flow through. But I will touch on a couple things that I really liked and a couple things that I didn't like. First off, I did not like this episode being a little slow for me. I would have liked to seen a little bit more action. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of Oliver in this episode, but I know this was an episode about Felicity and Diggle. Here's what I liked. I liked Felicity confronting her issues and doing it quickly and not carrying it on through episode after episode after episode of pity and loathing. She's like, nope, this is what I was. This is what I am now. It's no one's fault but the one person's. I'm accepting it. I also liked getting a resolution to Diggle and his brother's relationship as well. I like the fact that they got to that. I thought it could have taken a little bit longer, but hey, you finally see him accept his brother as what he was, and they kissed, they made up, and I'm glad. I'm glad that they got through everything. I'm glad that they can be brothers again. And I liked seeing them in combat together and finally getting to see what that looked like. I think the directing in this episode was pretty good. I liked the shots that they did. I liked seeing Felicity versus Felicity, kind of a Superman type thing from the original movies. So my overall feeling of the show, solid episode. I'm interested to see what they do next week back with the island and see how that progresses, since Oliver's injured. That's pretty much it. If you did like this video, you can hit that like button. You can follow us on all our social media areas. We're on PlayStation Network, Twitter, and Facebook. I'll have links to all of those down below. I'll also have a link to last week's review if you want to go back and watch that. So again, thank you for watching. I am Zach, without Wayne. Thank you for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you later.